I saw the contracts that we were doing with our clients. I saw that they were charging like 250 an hour, and I did the math on my salary. I was making like 60 an hour. So I was like, damn, if I could just get my own clients, I'll make a lot more money. Because I was doing all the work anyway. Like I
Right.
ran the client I did the work, I did the upselling, I did every aspect of it. I just made basically a third of the revenue. So I was like, all right, I got to figure out a way to just get my own client.
That entrepreneur show, we are bringing back one of my first guests. He's been back a second time, and I'm proud to call him a friend. We had to reconnect. We were catching up lately just about life, but I'm also proud of him because the business he brought on this show back in, I guess, the end of 2019, he is now coming back to the show as he has exited and sold his company, now embarking on one of his passions for his whole life, turning it into a career. Dan Gorman, welcome back to That Entrepreneur Show.
What's up? Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. And I think, as you said, I think I was actually the first episode you ever recorded, uh, which is awesome. And that was before I even incorporated the business. So we were both starting at the exact same time, which is when we first had that show. I got to go back and re-listen myself. And now a lot of things have happened over the last couple of years.
Yeah, everyone, be sure to go scroll down the episode description, catch up with Dan's journey, and you will also see a good example of why you need to just start. Doesn't matter if you're ready. Me as a podcast host during that first season, it can make me cringe when I go back and hear myself robotic, systematic, but you got to start somewhere. And Dan is a testament to that too. As I mentioned, he has now exited his business. Today, we're going to talk about that process. There's a lot of misconceptions about how you sell a company and how you do it correctly and effectively. Of course, we're going to dive back into his business, though, in case you missed his first episode, learning lessons, everything in between. And then present day, this guy's traveling the world, location to location, trying to make his music aspirations come true. He's extremely talented. He's going to recommend a song for you to check out at the end of the show, so stay tuned. But Dan, I want to backtrack back to 2019.
Yeah.
You first started this company. Walk us through how it started and then how it evolved for you to sell it.
Yeah, for sure. So basically, I was around that time, right before we spoke, I think, I was working as a consultant. Basically, we do tech consulting, software implementations, data management. We work with systems like Salesforce, HubSpot, do all sorts of work around that. RevOps is a buzzword that we throw around a lot. So it's like revenue operations. I was doing that consulting for another company and basically just I saw the contracts that we were doing with our clients. I saw that they were charging like 250 an hour, and I did the math on my salary. I was making like 60 an hour. So I was like, damn, if I could just get my own clients, I'll make a lot more money. Because I was doing all the work anyway. Like I
Right.
ran the client I did the work, I did the upselling, I did every aspect of it. I just made basically a third of the revenue. So I was like, all right, I got to figure out a way to just get my own clients. So I did that. I did that by I would basically apply to jobs full time, and on the interview or sometime during the interview process, I'd be like, "Hey, listen, I'm actually trying to start a consulting company. I think I can do this work in half the time, but I really like to come on." That worked at two different places, so all of a sudden I had two clients. I was working 20 hours a week for both, and then I just used that leverage to get other clients. Eventually, made a hire. A kid who was in college. Shout out to Dawson, who I could pay him $20 an hour at the time. He was like a genius, so he
Yeah.
would handle a lot of the work. And then all of a sudden, I was in a position to grow the business. I guess the next milestone there was I met my business partner about a year and a half later, and he was another like really brilliant guy. Came from Google. He worked at Google before that.
Jeez.
He's worked at all just like the top enterprise companies doing really really technical work. So again, if the theme here is just like, and this is no surprise to anybody, cliche almost, but it's yeah, just like surround yourself with the right people. Like I was doing like my only skill here was just like talking to people, having a vision, being a leader. But like at the end of the day, like the real work, it just came from other people, and I was just able to identify who those people were. So with Graham on board as my business partner, Dawson's still working for me. Graham had brought over two other guys because he had a little company, I had a little company. We joined forces, and at that moment, we basically said like, "What is our plan?" And then we basically agreed we want to sell this business in 2 years, 2 to 5 years. But we saw other companies that were similar to ours in the space. They were getting these large acquisitions. And to me, I always, this is like maybe an important part, is like, I never, I never really cared that much about the work that we were doing. Like it was a job. Like I like being an entrepreneur. I like figuring out how to get paid, how to make money, how to hire people and form a business. But what we did was not really important to me. And that the end date in mind was what I needed for the motivation to get me through the whole thing. I always knew from day one, I'm going to sell this business. I'm going to make a lot of money when I do so. And then it's all going to be worth it. I'm going to be able to do what I want after that. Like I looked at it almost like school. It was like, all right, like someone like goes to college before they make money. It's like, listen, I know what I want to do. I know I want to be a musician and I know there's like no money in that whatsoever. So it's like, I got to make my money elsewhere. So this is my way to like really do that. Fast forward, we, just about 2 years later, we started, we were in a position to sell, got all types of offers, and a bunch of them fell through. A bunch of them were for like way more than we ended up getting. So we were really excited, but then they ended up being kind of BS anyway, because they depended on bank loans and the interest rates are crazy right now. Banks are not giving out money. So like
Yep.
just so much to figure out from a logistical standpoint. And I'm sure you have some questions, but that's my beginning rant.
No, I mean, you provided us with the journey very, very clearly as well. And the great advice you left there was find something that's going to motivate you to push through. For you,
Yeah.
that end date was it. Your goal from the start was to create a company and then sell a company, start your next
Yes.
chapter. For some, it's to be at a company for 30 years that they start, but everybody wants something different. Find the motivation for you. I know, Dan, you're big into the gym. What are some other things you do outside of work that kept you going at this time? I know now it's all things music. What, kept you going? Because I know the passion ran out, it seems like. It was just the end
Yeah.
goal in mind.
A little bit. Yeah. I would say I still did have passion for building a business like that in itself. Like a lot of people who probably listen to the show, like, being an entrepreneur, that's a romanticized thing, but still, like, it was romanticized to me. And in my mind, it was like, I could do this. I'm an entrepreneur. I want to do this. So, like, while I didn't have a ton of passion for the actual work that we were doing, I did have passion just around being able to build a sustainable business, being able to, when I first like brought my employees on a real benefits platform, and I'm paying for people's health insurance, and they have kids, and I'm paying, and we're getting them health insurance and shit. That was not something I ever thought of, but that felt like amazing.
I
And then,
bet.
yeah, like it was great to just know that, like, hey, I'm literally like, what I created is now like actually helping people's families. Like that was a dope feeling. And also extra motivation, because the thought of having to take that away, of having to lay people off because we couldn't make payroll, which happened at one point, by the way, and it was heartbreaking. Like that's motivation too. It's just like, wow, this thing, I'm steering the ship, and I could crash it too. So
I love that. Just again, you being a good person, that's why that was at the front of your mind, like putting the now your employees at the front for effects. But it also is a sign of growth from you going from one or two companies to now not only making a hire, but providing health insurance. Again, man, this is great to hear. So proud of all your success. And now it's trickled into you being able to fully focus on pursuing music. Let's talk about dating back in time as a kid, where your musician passion came from.
yeah, yeah. So it's just I've always loved music, and I will go as far to say, like, I've always been legitimately, not even just saying this, like, jealous of people who didn't have true passions, because I always knew what mine was, and I
Yeah.
was always afraid to like fully go 100% in because of the fear of failure. Like, again, I think part of the reason my success was business, it was just me just like kind of distracting myself away from music, being like, oh, like, I don't want to touch that because what I might fail, but like this I'll do. And I did it really well, and it came more easily to me. So it was like I just focused on business. But now I'm at this point where it's like, all right, the box is checked for me. Like I've
Yeah.
proven to myself what I needed to. Um, and now I get to do whatever I want to do. I mean, to a degree. And music has always been what I wanted to do. I just felt like I needed to earn myself the right to do it, which maybe is stupid. Honestly, like, who knows? Maybe if I would have just skipped the last 3 years of building this company, I could have made more money in a position. Like, that's absolutely possible. And I would recommend somebody do that if that is their passion. But for me, just I think because of like the pressure that I felt from people around me, my family, etc. Like, and not even to put blame on them because it was really how I felt about myself and how they thought
Right.
about me mattered. And for me, it was like I need to prove to all these people I can take care of the business shit. Like, let me do what I want to do. Like, I promise you, I can figure out how to make money. Like, so, so to me, it was like, all right, Dan, build this company, sell it quick, and then you can do whatever the hell you want to do. So now I'm kind of there. But yeah, I always loved music, played drums in middle school, played in several different bands throughout my life, always very hard to make it work from the business side of that too, because that always becomes something where it's like, yeah, you make music, great, but like, how is it going to get heard? Like, what is your brand? There's all this other stuff that goes into it that I never wanted to think about. Like, I hated thinking about it because I just wanted to make music. But then I think the realization that I've recently had is that that's a cop out too. It's like if you care so much that you're going to put 100 hours into a song and you won't put 3 hours into getting it heard, um,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
really just because it's really just because you're afraid that it might not work, and that's absolutely what it is. So I'm no longer allowing myself to use that crutch.
I'm also going to piggyback off that though. There is something as the fear of next level of success. For me, for
Mm.
so long, I'll have, the entrepreneurial world, we're in 50,000 things to do. And the things that I know will move the needle, I'll dance around and just do the mundane things that need to get
Yeah,
done
yeah,
anyway, because whatever. And now I finally took that leap into the podcast production services where putting these out and then, oh shit, people want this and they're reaching
right.
back out. Okay, so everyone out there, the risk of failure is far less than that feeling of making it happen. Keep believing in yourself, and Dan will certainly continue to inspire that is an all, excuse me. What is one song, Dan, if we have not listened to your music yet,
Oh,
that we should go on Spotify and listen to right now?
I would say my song called Post Road seems to be the one that everyone likes the most. I have a song called Today Downtown that's my personal favorite that I love, but seems like everyone likes Post Road a little better. So those are the two. They're a little bit different too. So hopefully people will like either one or the other. And I also have a 9 song album coming out in probably 6 weeks. So check that out as well.
That's impressive. Well, congratulations on your continued success, Dan. All the great stuff you're doing. And now, again, he's traveling. He was overseas. Now
Yeah.
he's making music here in the South. So I can't wait to find a way to link up with him. Where can we find you on Spotify, Apple Music, all of these? And where can we say hello to you online?
Totally. Yeah. So Man Gordon is the name. That's my artist name. So on Spotify and all that, it's just Man Gordon. But I use the same as Instagram username and all that. So that's where I'm at.
Appreciate you sharing that, everyone. Thanks for tuning in again this week. The show is at That Entrepreneur Show on all social media, and I am at Vincent A. Lancy. If you're looking to work in the podcast services field, email Danica at podcastsbylancy@gmail.com for more information. And be sure to stay tuned for the next show. Next week, we're bringing on another top performing entrepreneur here to That Entrepreneur Show. And with that, we are signing off today from Tampa Bay to Nashville, Tennessee. Dan, it's always great to see you, bro.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate you having me on, and happy to come on again in the future. I'll be here again. So can't wait till then.
We'll bring you on for the album release
Oh hell yeah, let's do it.
and we'll promote it that way. All right, everyone. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next
Thanks.
week.